How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to an episode here on Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan, or Unknown Coder, your favorite underqualified senior software engineer, and we're finally going to go ahead and try to finish up this trilogy of getting the view post working. Last episode, we got it so that we can actually click on a post, it pops up the view post page, we can actually see an individual post with basically all of the same information that we had before. Next, what we need to go ahead and do is figure out how we can view all of the different replies that go below, and that's what we're going to go ahead and work on today. We're going to go ahead and make a new component called individual reply. We're also going to do some work to the feed and the post slices to get everything to kind of work seamlessly and nicely. So with that being said, let's go and hop into the code and get to work. So we're going to hop right into it here by going into our Explorer, and we're going to go ahead and just create a brand new component right off the bat. Let's go ahead and create the individual reply slash individual, if I could type reply.css, or actually we want tsx first, then we'll go ahead and say individual reply.css just to make it so I don't forget. So fortunately, this component is quite a bit simpler to create than the other one. We're just going to go ahead and create, well, first we'll go ahead and import React from React as is custom, and then we'll go ahead and make an interface, maybe an interface that we will call individual reply props. I'm getting tired, my typing is getting pretty bad, please forgive me. User, go ahead and bring in user, and we'll have the original, and then this will be a post. Cool. Export const, and this will be individual reply, which is an fc react.fc, and this will take in our individual reply props equal to, and we'll break apart our user and our original post, and we will do this. So we need a few things here. First, we need the current feed post equal to use selector, and this is going to be state colon root state, and we will go ahead and bring in state.feed.current post. Now, this is stuff we still need to kind of do after we create this, but we're just kind of setting the stage here. So we're going to have a const post state is equal to use selector state root state, and this will be state.post, just like that. Then we'll say once again const navigate to profile, because apparently we always need a way to navigate to profile no matter what. And I completely missed use navigate, so let's go ahead and do that as well. So const, we also need dispatch, which is an app dispatch equal to use dispatch. And then we also need const navigate equal to use navigate, like so. And then here inside navigate to profile, we'll navigate to backslash, and then $. So the other one was profile slash $ curly brace original.author.username. That's what we did in the last episode, so I don't know which one of these is wrong. I'll have to go through and fix it, but it should be fine. Now we'll say const initialize reply equal to an arrow function, and this will more or less do that. So if our current feed post, and so our user and our not post state dot current post, if we're not creating a post. So if we have a current feed post and the user's logged in and there's a post state, or there's not a post state, current post being created, we will dispatch, and we will dispatch initialize current reply, like so. And then we can go ahead and pass in the post, which is the current feed post, and then we'll also pass in the user. So there is some configuration we need to set up inside of our feed post to kind of get this all working. We'll deal with that in a second, or not the feed post, inside of the post slice and feed slice, but we'll do that in a second. First, we're going to go ahead and return a div class name equal to, and this is going to be curly braces, and we're going to say post state dot current reply question mark. If this is the case, it'll be individual dash reply. Otherwise, it'll be individual reply and then inactive, because we don't want someone to be able to create a post they aren't logged in. So next we'll have a div class name equal to, we'll add in that individual reply. I guess I got the things there, and then this will be dash left, and there's like a user profile here picture that we're going to go ahead and create a custom component that will later on in a different episode go through and refactor everything to. And a div class name equal to individual reply dash right. So on the right, we're going to go ahead and say post state dot current reply, and we're going to go ahead and do something if there's a current reply. If that's the case, we'll p class name equal to, go ahead and individual reply dash replying dash to, and inside the replying to, we're going to go ahead and say replying to, and then we'll have a span class name equal to individual reply dash replying. This is a little bit confusing, but it's going to be replying dash to dash user, and inside we're going to have an on click equal to navigate to profile, and then we'll go ahead and say at dollars or at curly braces origin dot, and this should be original dot author and then dot username. So we'll go ahead, and if we click on them, it'll navigate us, and then we'll have a div with a class name equal to individual dash reply dash text dash wrapper. This will also have an on click equal to initialize reply init reply, like so, and then inside we'll have a create post text area with location equal to reply, and a placeholder equal post your reply. Okay, so that is that. Below that, we're gonna have curly braces post date dot current post dot current, actually not current post, current reply images dot length greater than 0, or we're gonna have another set of parentheses. It looks like post date dot current reply and post date dot current reply dot images dot length, because there could be a GIF there, is greater than 0. If both of those, we'll say and this will be feed post creator images, like so. So if we have images either inside of our current reply images or inside of our current reply itself, that could be like if there's a GIF, it adds it directly. So when you go and add that, next we have another set of curly braces, and this will just say post state dot current reply, and we'll have our create reply bottom with a type is equal to reply. We don't need that. There we go. And then one last thing, we'll have not post date dot current reply, and so if there's not a current reply going on, we'll have a div class name equal to, and then we'll have our individual reply dash fake dash btn. So if we haven't started one yet, we're just kind of like a fake button that just says reply. It's kind of silly, but that's what Twitter does. Twitter's probably isn't fake per se, but you can't really reply anything. There's nothing inside of it. So that's the idea there. So next, what I want to go ahead and do is get this profile picture cooked up. So let's go into Explorer. Inside of our components up here, I believe we do. We're going to go ahead and say profile picture. Although I don't know how we've been doing these components. So let's just take a look. Components. Okay, so we will go ahead and say profile picture slash profile picture, maybe. .tsx. We're going to say profile picture .css. Like I said, I'm going to go through and find all the instances that use this. Just right now, it's not the right time. So import React from React. I'll do it some other video where I haven't done a bunch of stuff already. We'll say interface, profile, picture, props. And here we'll say user, and we'll say size and string. We'll need to import our user. So import that from our global interfaces. We'll export default function, profile, picture. Our props will be profile, picture props. Here we'll have a const navigate equal to use navigate, and we'll need to go ahead and bring that in, which it just did automatically. We'll say const navigate to profile. Basically, I got sick of setting up the same exact thing over again, so I finally put my foot down, and I'll go through and fix everything up later. Navigate. So this one's also using /profile. So I don't know which one's correct at this point, and I don't really feel like going to look, but we'll figure it out eventually. Whenever none of these work, I have to go back through and fix them. And then return an image, the class name equal to profile dash picture. And inside here, we'll have a height, which is equal to props dot size, a width, which is equal to props dot size. We'll have an src equal to props dot user dot profile picture question mark. If that's the case, we'll say props dot user dot profile picture dot image URL. Otherwise, we'll use the default PFP. You guys have seen this a million times at this point. Might as well actually make it so that it's reusable. Alt will be backticks $ curly brace props dot user dot username apostrophe s profile picture, and then finally on click will equal to navigate to profile. And that should be everything. We just need to bring in the default PFP. So we'll go ahead and import our defaults PFP from .. and this should just be assets / default _ PFP.webp. Then let's also import our .. and profile picture.css. So now I believe we can go ahead and do the profile picture CSS. So let's go into profile picture CSS. Inside profile picture CSS, we'll just go ahead and say dot profile picture. Again, you guys have seen this one a million times as well. Border none, border dash radius 100%, and then object dash fit will be cover. That's good to go. So now we can go back into our individual reply and set up that profile picture. So now inside of individual reply left, we'll go ahead and bring in profile picture, and inside profile picture, our user will equal to user, and our size will equal to 40. Pass that information, that's good to go. And now we can also go ahead and start stylizing our individual reply.css. We'll start out with our individual reply, and here I'll have a width 100%. We'll have a height of fit maybe dash content. We will have a display of flex. We'll have a padding on the bottom of about 16 px. We'll have a border on the bottom of this guy of 1 px solid, pound E1, E8, and then ED, and we will have a justify content in the flex dash start, and we will align items in the center. Go ahead and say next individual reply. Actually, next is not left, but I'm going to go ahead and do this. Next is actually inactive, which has a padding dash top of 16 px. So whenever it's active, it shows who you're replying to. Whenever you're inactive, it doesn't show, but it has kind of the same spacing. I just remembered that's why we have this. The individual reply left will be width 10%, height 100%, have a display of flex, have a justify content in the center, and align items in the center. So align items, center. Dot individual reply dash right. Here we'll have width is about 75%. I kind of like the spacing that this gave. We'll have a height of fit dash content, have a margin of 0, a padding of 0. Let me fix this. Padding 0. Next up, we have replying to. So this one is a little bit confusing. Dot individual reply dash replying dash to. We'll have margin 0. We'll have margin dash top of about 4px, just a little bit of space on the top. I have a little bit of space on the bottom, margin bottom, about 8px. Have 0 padding on it, and then we will have a font, font dash size. If I could type, that'd be cool. 15px. We'll have a font, oh my goodness, font dash weight of 400, and finally a color of 6 pound 657786. So there's that. Then we have the individual reply dash replying dash to dash user. So this one just has a different color. So color we pound 1D A1 F2, which I believe is Twitter blue. And then we have our text wrapper. So we'll say dot individual reply dash text dash wrapper. This is going to just have padding of 0 and a margin of 0. Probably could have just done nothing there. It is what it is. Finally, the last one, individual reply dash fake dash btn. So here we start out with height 34px. Our width is about 78px. I yoinked that off Twitter. It's kind of strange. Padding 0 and then 16px. Border none. We'll have border dash radius of 17px, which is about half. Background dash color will be RGBA. I don't know why I have an RGBA on this. Maybe because there's supposed to be hover or something. I'm not sure what's going on with this one. 29161.242.5. I might have stolen it. I don't know. Color will be white. We'll have a font dash weight of 800 and a font dash size of 15px, margin of 0, a padding of 0, and a display of flex so we can justify content in the center and align items in the center. Before we have to debug a bunch of issues, let's make sure that we actually have the CSS imported inside of individual reply. Let's go ahead and import our /individual reply.css. So that could be an issue in the future. Now let's go back to our view post and actually put this in here. So now below our individual post, let's go ahead and do one of these. And here we'll say post and logged in, because you can't create a post if you're not logged in. And we'll make our individual reply user is equal to our logged in. And I guess we could have just grabbed it. It is what it is, but we'll pass it. It doesn't hurt anything. Save that. So fingers crossed this looks all good. Otherwise, I'll do a little bit of debugging and get back to you all. But it looks pretty good. Whenever we click on it, it should initialize it. Now, it's not going to work perfectly whenever we try to create a post right now, just because of the fact that it's not all set up inside of the feed slice and all that stuff. And also, like, I don't believe this works right now. Yeah, because it's kind of behind it. So we need to do a little bit of work on that. And that's what we'll do next. Let's go ahead and hop back into our code. And I'm going to go ahead and open up our Explorer. And I'm going to go into our components. And I'm going to go ahead and create a modal container. Modal container.tsx. This is going to do exactly what it sounds like. It's just going to contain all different modals. That way it's on top of all the different layers that we have. We don't have issues. So let's go ahead and import React from React. If I could type, that'd be cool. We're gonna have a whole bunch of stuff to import. It's not gonna be very fun, but we're gonna go ahead and say export default function modal container. And here we're gonna have const display, and this is gonna be edit image modal equal to use selector. Bring that in. States root state. I don't remember where we yoinked this from, so that's why I'm just going to do this. State.modal.display, and this one is going to be edit post image. There we go. And now you kind of get the idea where we're going to be going here. So next we'll have const display tag people modal is equal to use selector states root states states.modal display tag people const display, and this one is gif modal equal to use selector states root states. We'll return state.modal dot, and then this is display gif const display schedule equal to use selector states and root states modal dot, and then display schedule, and then const display create reply equal to use selector states root states states.modal dot display, and this one is create reply. We're just going to return, and we're just literally returning this, and then this we're going to go to display edit image modal and feed post creator edit image modal. And now we're just going to go through and kind of display all the modals like they should. Next one is display tag people modal, and then this one is going to be feed post creator, and this one should be tag people modal. Next is display gif modal, and this will be feed post creator, and this will be gif modal. We have display and schedule and schedule post modal, and then finally we have display create reply. I don't know why I spelled this wrong. Let me spell this right. Const display create reply. I can say create reply and create reply. Save that, and now we're going to go ahead and update our layout page. Let's go into layout page, and now what we're going to go ahead and do is, I believe at the top of the layout page, so here we're going to go ahead and say modal container. Go ahead and do that. There we go. That's good to go. Now we need to go ahead and do the part that's not going to be as fun, some of the more refactory stuff. So let's first go to our feed slice, and this is going to kind of make it so that everything will end up working whenever we try to create a reply. So inside of our feed slice, we're first going to go down to about line 126. We're going to add a if statement here. So if state.current post and state.current post post ID is equal to action.payload.post ID, Then we'll go ahead and update this. I don't 100% remember what this is for, but we want to go ahead and set that. We also want to go ahead and come down and create a new reducer. So let's go to the bottom of our reducers, I believe. And here we're going to go ahead and say set feed posts state action, and this will be a payload action of feed post array. And in here, we're just going to say state is equal to ... state. Post will be action.payload, and then we'll go ahead and return the state. You'll see why this is important later. Basically, what's going to happen is whenever we go through and we click on a post to view the individual post, we want to go ahead and set the feed post, like feed itself, to just be that singular post and all of the replies. And that's going to go ahead and help us automatically update the views and all of that stuff. And I believe that's why we're doing this as well. I don't want us to remember why we're doing this, but there's a reason behind it. And I think it might be that. But now let's go ahead and export that set feed post at the bottom here. So come to the end. We'll go ahead and set feed post. But that's the reason behind that new thing. Now we need to go ahead and update the post slice to go ahead and do some stuff too. So let's go into the post slice. So inside the post slice, we're going to go down to line about 146. So this is inside the create reply. So here we're going to go ahead and instead of just returning this rec.data, we're going to say our const saved reply is equal to rec.data. We're going to say let original equal to body reply dot original post. We're going to say original equal to ... original, comma, we're going to add the reply to this. So we're going to say ... original dot replies, and then saved replies, because we weren't actually ever adding this on the front end. And then after this, we're going to say thunk API dot dispatch. We're going to dispatch update post. We're going to pass in that original post. So this is significant because right now, whenever we update that post on the feed, it's going to go ahead and update the post inside of that list of replies, and everything should be kept up to date basically, and it should refresh everything. So then we're going to go ahead and return saved reply like so, and make sure I do that properly, saved reply. So let's go ahead and grab this again. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. Now let's actually go down to the create reply with media where we want to be, and inside this try, I'm not sure why it's set up exactly like this, but it is what it is. And let's go ahead and paste this in and see if it works at least a little bit better. So here again, we call it res.data body.reply. So here, let's see. So we might just be able to say reply.original post instead of body reply original post. And now let's see what it's crying about. It's probably complaining because it's not a real post. So we're going to do something similar to what we did before. So we're going to go ahead and say save reply dot reply to, like that. There we go. Looks better. Now let's see if it's working. So now we're going to go ahead and do some modifications to our view post to actually use the feed and this redux slices and everything like that. So let's go into our view post. We're going to make some changes here. So we're going to keep post ID and we're going to go ahead and keep logged in. But now we're going to go ahead and say const feed is equal to use selector and our states, state, root states, and then we'll say state dot feed dot post. So that's our feed. Const post equal to use selector, state, root state, and post will be state dot feed dot current post, which is why we're going to be setting basically the current feed post or whatever. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is we can get rid of this now, and we can get rid of this. We're going to go ahead and set up a new function. Here we're going to say const set current post and feed. We're going to go ahead and reset the feed. We're going to take in our post of type post, and I don't know if I need to name it I post anymore. I'm just going to keep it like that. I think that's fine. Here we'll say dispatch, and we're going to go ahead and dispatch setting the current post to set current post. We're going to go and set that to the post that we have pulled in, and we'll get this in a second. That's fine. Next, we'll say let feed post of type feed post array equal to an empty array. We'll say feed post dot push. Whoops. Fix that. We'll go ahead and post the push. Reply to will be null. Our repost will be false. And our repost user will be post.author. So I don't remember exactly what we're doing this for, but I guess we also need to go and bring in dispatch. So I missed that. Const dispatch app dispatch equal to use dispatch. So we had an issue with like our posts and stuff. So that's why we're bringing in feed post and make sure we dispatch like so. Bring in our set current post, bring in our feed post. So this is why this has something to do with this. And we're going to also go ahead and basically send some stuff. So we're going to go ahead and say let replies equal to post.replies.map, because for the feed post, we need feed post specifically, not post. And we only have a post. So that's the reasoning behind this. Then we're also going to do the same thing where we let feed post of type feed post equal to this. So we're going to go and just map this to a feed post. Post will be the reply. Our reply to will be null. We don't really care because reply to makes the container look different. Repost will be false, and repost user will just be reply.author because it's required. I didn't think that part through, but I didn't want to refactor everything. And here we'll go ahead and return that feed post. And I just did it this way so I could see what was needed in there because it's a little bit finicky otherwise. Finally, we'll say feed post is equal to an array of ... feed post, and then ... replies. We'll just break apart the broken array, empty array, and then add in the replies. And I'm pretty sure we already pushed the original one, so that's fine. Dispatch, and we'll go ahead and dispatch set feed post, and you see why we set that up now. And we'll go ahead and feed post. So just to go over, we convert our regular post into a feed post and push it into the array. We map all of our replies, which are regular posts, into a feed post, and then push all of those into the array as well. Then we dispatch that to set the actual feed. Now inside of fetch post by ID, once again, we'll go ahead and just say const post is equal to rec.data, set current post and feed. We'll go ahead and pass that post that we got from our request. So that should be good. And now inside the use effect, it's going to be a little bit different. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear out this use effect here. We're just going to watch the post ID once again. And here we're going to say if our post ID. So we want to make sure we have a post. We'll say feed.sum. And we're going to check to see if the post is already on the feed. So like, were we already logged in more or less? So if the feed already contains a post, so post.post ID, and this is a little bit confusing, but it's because it's a feed post rather than a post, is equal to, and we need to convert this to a number. Again, it's a little bit funky because the parameter on the path is a string, but post ID. So if the post ID exists inside of the feed post, we're going to go ahead and say feed.for each, and then for each post and index, and we'll go ahead and wrap this just to make it a little bit prettier. So for each post and index, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll say if our post.post.post ID is equal to the post ID and the parameter, we will set the current post and feed. I don't know why we need the index there. I don't think we needed it, but to post.post and then a return. So do the same thing we did before, map through everything and fix this. Whoops. Fix that and get rid of this. And let's see, I'm guessing I messed up a parenthesis somewhere. There we go. Otherwise, if it doesn't exist on this, there we go. If it doesn't exist in here, we'll go ahead and just fetch post by ID. So again, we're checking to see if the post exists inside of our feed already. If it does, we'll loop through and go ahead and set that. Otherwise, we'll fetch it manually. And then we do need one more use effect. Otherwise, it won't refresh the views properly. It's kind of annoying, but what can you do? So we're going to say post.replies.length. And maybe this one wasn't the views issue. Maybe I was just making sure that it refreshed when replies changed. But then we'll say if post, if we have a post, we'll say set current post and feed. It's been a while since I wrote this, so I don't remember 100% why we need this, but I know that we need it. So now we have the same exact thing. We haven't really changed anything, but theoretically we should be able to create replies and stuff a lot easier now. But the thing is, we don't have any way to actually view the replies. So we need to make like basically one last component, and that's going to be called individual post replies. So let's go ahead and go into our Explorer. Let's go into our post components. We'll go ahead and say individual post replies dot, and then slash individual post replies dot tsx. And I don't think this one takes any CSS. That's easy enough. So let's go ahead and import React from React. We'll go ahead and export const individual post replies, which is a react.fc. And then we'll go ahead and do our arrow function. So here we're going to go ahead and say const replies are equal to use selector. And then we're going to say state root state. And we're going to go ahead and basically grab all the ones after the first index of the feed post. So we're going to say state.feed.post. We're going to get our feed, and we're going to go ahead and slice that to 1. So we're going to basically get everything after the first post, which will all be replies. So we're going to return, and we're just going to return basically a map. And again, this is one of those weird things that didn't really work that well whenever I originally tried it. So I go ahead and broke it apart this way. We're going to map through each post, and here we're going to make a post like so. The key will equal to post.post.post ID. And then the feed post will equal to the post. And again, this also fixed a lot of issues with some other stuff that I was having. So go ahead and do this, save that, and let's see what's going on here. Let's go ahead and import our root states. And it looks like post is imported, everything else. Let's go back to our view post page. And now all we need to do is go ahead and if we have a post, go ahead and display those individual replies. So post, and then we'll pass in our individual post replies like so. That doesn't take anything. And again, we're not going to see anything right now until we actually create a post. Let's go ahead and fix this. Hopefully this is as easy as just getting rid of that duplicate for some reason. Let's go to the top here. I'm not even sure how this happened, but let's try to get rid of this. And let's see if it works now. There we go. That's much better. Now, fingers crossed, this should hopefully work. So let's say testing out replies. It's going to take a second, but hopefully I didn't scuff anything because it's getting pretty late and this episode is already really long. And it looks like we got an eels. We got a 500 for some reason. Duplicate key. Oh, you know what? Okay, this is an easy fix. Let's go into our backend. So we already have notifications that we inserted. Let's go ahead, and I forgot about these. Go ahead and comment these out and restart the server, which I don't know why, but my Spring Boot DevTools has not been working very well lately. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but let's let this reload really quick. And then let's go ahead and come back to our front end. Let's refresh. Shouldn't be a reply or anything. Let's try again. Testing. Whoops. Out replies. And now, as long as it goes through, okay, it went through. Why did we not update? Not good. I think I messed up the feed slice. Let's go back to the feed slice. Let's go back up to where we just changed. So yeah, I messed this up. So here, we need to go ahead and say current post is action.payload. I don't know how I screwed this up so badly. And then here we still need to say state is equal to ... state, and then post our updated posts. Let's save that, and I'm gonna restart our server so I can delete that, and let's try it again. Okay, let's refresh to get rid of that. Okay, third time's the charm. Testing the replies again. There we go. Cool. I'm not going to go ahead and stress myself out about the media. I'll test it off screen. If it doesn't work, I'll update you guys just because this is getting really long. And there's one last thing that we need to do. We need to make it so that even if you're not logged in, you're still able to view this, because if you're not logged in, you can view individual posts, replies, and all that stuff. You just don't see this part. So let's go ahead and go back to our code for our last change. We need to go into our layout page, and here inside of this big if statement, we're going to add basically a new else if. So we're going to say else if, we're going to say not location dot path name, path name dot starts with, and then slash post. We could probably also add like profile and other stuff like that later on, but this should theoretically allow us to view posts when we're not logged in. And let's go ahead and just try that out. So let's go into Brave. If we go into our application here and we go into our local storage, go into this and then delete our token, we won't have a token anymore, but if we refresh, fingers crossed, we should still be able to load the page. Now here's the issue, is obviously viewing it is not going to work because we don't have a person logged in. So I think that's why it's not working here. I'm not 100% sure. Also, it wasn't working there because we were logged in as ourselves, so it didn't send, but it is what it is. Obviously this is broken, so we need to figure out kind of like what to do for that. But that's going to be it for this episode. That's everything I wanted to get done for viewing posts. I know these last 3 episodes have been absolutely long and gruelers. Hopefully I can try to get a good balance here so it's not so long, but we still get a lot of features done. But anyway guys, I appreciate you all for watching. If you did make it to this point, please like, comment, and subscribe. Everything helps out with the YouTube algorithm. If you do want to see how I got to this point from absolute scratch to now, there's a playlist that is linked down in the description below that has every single video of this series. But as always, my name is Ethan Uncoder. Hope you guys have a great day, afternoon, whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.